Hey folks, with us today, Maciej Zawadzinski from Piwik PRO. Super happy to have you.
Yeah, great to be here and talk startups.
Same. Then let's dive right in. What problem does Piwik PRO solve?
So we provide the best web and app analytics platform for marketers. You can think of Piwik PRO as a privacy-friendly alternative to Google Analytics. And now with the sunset of Google Analytics coming up or already in as you publish this podcast, there is increasing demand for platforms that are user-friendly, unlike GA4. And we fill this gap really well.
Interesting. And then I would love to dive right into that because it's a very specific moment for it. Because nobody knew that Google would have this basically major fuck up, self-produced. So what are you currently doing to capitalize on that?
Yeah, so first of all, we launched a freemium model around a year ago, and that's going very well. It's fairly generous because it allows you to track up to 500,000 actions, so events per month, which is generally pretty good for all smaller B2B companies, etc. We sell primarily to enterprise and mid-market, where they have much higher traffic and higher demands. But this freemium model helped us to go mainstream, and we see a lot of PR effects of that. People recording videos or writing about how they migrated to Piwik PRO from Google and etc. We of course facilitated with also some of the migration tools, guides, etc. But as we were as we heard about this change and we realized how big opportunity it is, that we switched completely to capitalize on that and make Piwik PRO mainstream. Because before we were focused mainly on the data-sensitive industries, finance, healthcare, telecoms, etc., with hosting the data in Europe with some additional privacy controls. For example, we have built-in consent manager, etc. But now it's pretty much everyone has the problem, what to do next. And GA4, especially for marketers, is gets pretty bad reviews, and they look for alternatives. And I think we are the closest to universal analytics out of the other platforms that are out there.
Yeah. And then very tactically, how did you make that change? Because I know that beforehand you were as you said, enterprise driven, have I think 7 or 8 people sales team. How were you, and are 100 employees overall, I think a bit more maybe even by now. How did you move 100 people into a completely different direction? How does one as the CEO make that turn?
Yeah. So we are over 150 at this point.
Oh, okay.
So we grow quite fast, over 50% year over year, close to 60% year over year. But the change was actually it was a nice coincidence because we were planning rolling out freemium anyway. So we were already preparing for that, and that was just refining the plan that we had. Still, it's a bit differently from the marketing PR side, but it wasn't a huge change of the direction that we had to take because we knew that we want to go mainstream. That the story is that we focus on the data sensitive industries because they were a bit less demanding than others in terms of complexity of data analysis and collection, etc. So think of a bank versus think of the modern e-commerce side. And we weren't as feature ready to go for retail or for other industries. So we focus on the privacy sensitive ones because we had a good background in that area, and we built some features supporting that and processes, certifications, etc. But as our platform became more mature, and that happens around 2020, 21, we knew that we want to go mainstream because we we can go head to head with GA360, Adobe, and win actually on the pure product level, not just by compliance. And as we realized that, we said, okay, this is now the point where we need to go mainstream, and there is no other better way to get it in front of a lot of people than launching a generous premium tier. So time was on our side. This timing of Universal Analytics sunset, definitely. And we refined a bit marketing strategy for that. We decided also to dedicate a larger marketing budget just to capitalize.
In terms of marketing budget, I assume if you did enterprise previously, it was likely through like MQLs or something, or like how did the enterprise go to market motion work versus how are you getting people like on your website and then convert them right now?
So we were always very content driven and inbound driven. So we never had a huge success using outbound. So what the two things that changed is launching the freemium, which definitely introduced the self-service customers as well as like a mass customer, which is also a lower subscription value sometimes, but not always. We also see very large enterprises starting with freemium and then going to sales team and asking for RFP fill out, etc. So it looks like it's convenient for specialists, even in the enterprise organization, to evaluate the product first before they even speak to sales. And the other thing that changed is we are increasingly more popular actually in partner channel. So we have a lot of agencies that partner with us and that implement Piwik PRO, and it's a like kind of symbiotic relationship because they have to give advice and implement analytics tool, change the analytics tool, whether it's GA4 or us or somebody else. So they would like to have this like, relation with us to also show the customers, okay, we can recommend that. You solve the privacy issues if you're a European company, and you have a much more robust platform for marketers. So that has really increased for us. The partner teller was never so popular as it is now. But it's still not our major channel, sales channel.
Yeah. Quick question that then, do you basically like give them some affiliate kickback when they bring a customer, or how does the partnership work there?
So there are different ways. So some partners say we are totally agnostic, vendor agnostic, and we don't want even kickback not to have a conflict of interest. But some of them act as a reseller, so they buy a license from us and sell it to the end customers, and based on the volume they generate, we give them volume discounts.
Interesting.
The affiliate part works as well, but it's a smaller chunk of the partnership. Usually, larger agencies they usually go for reseller because they control the whole billing relationship. They are, let's say, the reseller in the country. And that's also convenient for us because then they also handle the support in the local language, meet with the customer, leverage the relationship. So it's a bit different dynamic than having the customer sign directly with us.
And then for the resellers, did they approach you, or did you basically try to find resellers proactively?
So we do find proactively, but actually the best resellers reached out to us because of our positioning. And it's actually the most successful resellers came inbound. But as we scale this channel, of course, we have a partnership manager, and we proactively reach. Especially in the markets where we have lower penetration of partners, or we see a bigger barrier of entry for us directly. That's better to build a local partners that can walk through the market rather than do it direct.
And then for the people who think about maybe going that route also, what can you give like a rough range of how much like how much off, what discount do you need to give to a reseller to make it attractive for them? I know it's different from business to business, but like where should people start who never did that before?
So maybe the one thing that is specific to us, and I think that works the best. These are the best type of partners. So our partners make probably like 10s or 50x more money on services they offer to the customer than the license. So it's more like a nice thing, nice add-on, but it's not the primary revenue that they generate. So the fact they recommend us or they resell us or they refer clients to us is probably something that's for larger agencies, definitely they don't even notice on P&L. Maybe for smaller, it's noticeable, but it's definitely a small chunk. Then we did a research of like what are the ranges, and we are on the lower range of that. So typically the like referrals start at 10%, which is very common for services business. I used to run an agency. So in agency business, usually the market goals and startup was, if I bring a project to the agency, I will receive 10% of billings for the first year, or like whatever, 2 years or etc. In terms of product business, you have much more margin. So agency may have like 50% margin or 40% gross margin on people they sell. In product business, you have usually like gross margin is 70 to 90% depending on the type of SaaS. So you can offer 20 to even 50%. I think that 50% were the extreme cases that we found. Most common are between 15 and 30%. That's kind of ranges that we offer, depending on the volume. And I think like what I would start is first look at your gross margin, how much you can keep up, and then second, look at what are the competitors in your space offering to make it competitive. So it's not like not enough attractive compared to the others.
If you need to hire the right developers and ship fast, then React Squad is for you. A boutique agency that specializes in React and only works with fast growth startups. Get a 14-day risk-free trial and a transparent price of $95 per hour. Visit reactsquad.io to learn more.
I love that. I would love to switch gears now from the product side to more of like the company building side, because you, as you mentioned right now, you had an agency and spun the current product business out of the agency. Yeah. How did you manage to, so first maybe a couple of sentences on what the agency was specifically, and then how did you manage that spin out process without either breaking the bank on the agency side or never getting the product out in the market?
Yeah, that was insanely difficult.
That's why I'm asking.
So first of all, the agency, so it was custom software development, but with the specialization. So we focused only on marketing technology and advertising technology. By the way, we spun it off and actually successfully sold the company around 1.5 years ago. And that's also how I started, what we discussed before, some investing on the side, but that's a separate topic. Initially, we had a lot of common roles in the company because we are incubating it as a part of agency. It was from the day one a subsidiary, so we could have a separate cost center and revenue center, and that's super important to have it from the beginning, because then you can show the history if you are fundraising, etc. But what we didn't do is we have shared management, shared HR, office, finance teams, shared development in the beginning, shared marketing in the beginning. So we started department by department. So first of all, we established separate marketing and sales. That was key because it wasn't working at all when it was like, sell, here are the custom development services and here sell the product. We just completely did two different types of personas, etc. So that was the first thing. Then we spun off, of course, development teams. So part of developers were hired directly. But actually what we did is we took a part of the business. So we took one, I think, team of 10 people at development and moved it to the product business. And that was very good decision for the product, definitely, because we had a team that was proven, that was complete with senior guys, some mid guys, manager, QA, etc. So it sped up development quite a lot, and it was a nice way to support the product and go faster. But of course, we lost some of the potential revenue in the agency, and we had to accept it. But with the size of the agency, that was already over 80 people, I think it wasn't a big blow. And then it went for the rest of the team. I think the mistake that we did is that the management team was still for the first 5-6 years of both companies was the same. And we had to juggle things around. And once we separated, so we grew a management team on the agency side, and I moved with my COO to the product side. Both companies started doing better instantly. So because there was a focus and we didn't distract each other with things from one business to another. So that was definitely too late. I would establish that much earlier. I think generally I would start separating everything earlier than we did. But there were also good reasons, financial reasons, because we're bootstrapping, why we kept it so long together.
Yeah. And now, because you just mentioned the bootstrap, I think you mentioned in another podcast that you raised, I think, 2 million. I'm not sure if you raised more
we
right
raised
now.
$2 million. We added for another 2 million or more from the profits of the agency. So we were funneling it to the product business because it was our subsidiary, so it was easy. I think given that we have around 12 million of ARR right now, having raised maybe in total 4.5 of funding, I think it's a pretty good bootstrap.
That's very lean, yeah.
Lean. We were always lean. But on the other side, perhaps we could have go faster if we didn't have to run 2 companies at the same time. We had the funding secured. We didn't have to earn the money to spend it in product. So it kind of was a longer journey, but I think in the end, the recent 2-3 years showed that we can accelerate the growth despite being larger and larger company.
Yeah. And then quick question, did you sell, because I'm not quite sure if I got it right, did you sell Piwik PRO half a year ago, or did you sell the agency? Which company got acquired?
The agency. We sold the agency, and we keep running and growing Piwik PRO. So we spinned off the agency, and we kept the focus on Piwik PRO.
Yeah. And then, as one does, I obviously stalked you on LinkedIn before jumping in here. And so it said that the beginning of this year, you moved from the CEO position to the board member position. Why did you make the decision to give up the CEO hat and step not out of the business, but a step ahead, basically?
So that's connected a bit with my side activity, which now becomes my prime activity, which is investing in early stage companies. So I started doing that probably long before we even exited the agency. But once we exited the agency, I had more funds to do that. And in the meantime, we grew a very successful management team at Piwik PRO. And it was natural to let them run the business while I can focus on the next thing that I plan to do, which is running the early stage fund, which is operator driven. So we had the companies based on the experience that we gained in growing previous businesses. So that's I think that's for sure the story. So I keep my role as a board member and advisor to the company, but we have very good management team that really executes it well. So I don't want to interrupt them. Plus, I have this experience that after giving up the board position in the agency that we sold, it also started going better. And so far, it started going better here too. So maybe it's like, at some stage of the development of company, I should stop being involved and focus on the early stage opportunities.
Yeah. So you're more of the 0 to 1 guy, even though like 150 people is not quite one, but a bit more. I understand that. And then on the investing side, is it all? Did you raise a fund, or is it basically your family office?
No. That's funds of mine and some of the co-founders of the agency business put together a small fund that we manage with no external funding, and that also helps us to do some non-standard deals. And we have to explain ourselves only in front of us. So it's I call it entrepreneur-friendly fund because we went through the same process and growing not only one but several companies together. So I think it's something unique on the market compared to the VCs that usually have more financial background than operator background.
Yeah. And then how do you see investing in the current climate? Because on the one side, companies die left and right because they're not able to raise funding. On the other side, especially in the pre-seed stage, valuations are down or like on the same level again. You don't quite need to sell your money as hard as an investor, as weird as it sounds. So how do you think about deploying capital in that market right now?
So I think, on the pre-seed stage, even Series A, there are, of course, companies have to do more to rise the round, but it isn't as bad as the late stage opportunities. And for the late stage opportunities, there are a number of factors that are difficult. First, some of these companies' growth deaccelerated and they raised money at the very high valuation. They don't want to do their down round. So it's very challenging for them. On seed, pre-seed, I still see competition. It's not that there is, it's easy to get into certain more exciting projects, but definitely the expectations became more reasonable from the founder side. So it's definitely like there are more opportunities on the market. And I think if you are investing in the seed and pre-seed stage, like you are looking to exit in 5-10 years. So you don't have to look at the current slowdown in the economy. You should more look at, okay, does the company have enough runway, or will it have ability to rise to have enough runway for the next 2 to 3 years to survive and then thrive in the rising market. So I think it's the time to invest in such companies, but do the right due diligence and make sure the company is well funded, because it may take longer than usual for them to grow to the size when you can exit.
And then for the founders listening who might be at the stage that they want to raise like an angel or maybe a pre-seed round, what do you see so what makes the SaaS company attractive for you? So what do you see which makes you as an investor go, damn, I need to get into that deal?
So at this stages, like I look a lot at the founding team and the dynamics between them, if they have the right competences, the drive to run and passion to run the business. Definitely some earlier success helps, but it's not only that, but how they are knowledgeable about the market, the problem that they are solving, and whether they are like doers. And the other thing I look at is early traction. It doesn't have to be a lot, but you have to have paying customers that is willing to take an interview and talk why they use it or how they use the product and how they get value. Because I think that's most important. Like if there is really a market for for companies to pay to solve the problem that your product is solving. Without that, there is a lot of venture funds that invest earlier. I tend to like to have at least first a couple of paying customers on board. Although I would lie if I don't have the companies that are pro-revenue in my portfolio, because sometimes there are things that you are too excited to pass on, but then there needs to be a really something unique about the technology and the problem that is solving that is like that can be 10x better than what would ever exist on the market, and that's very rare. And it's you can see such opportunity without the let's say early product market fit.
Yeah. And then as a last question, because usually one of the last questions is what the big vision for Piwik PRO is, but I would ask it a bit differently. What big vision do you have for yourself as an entrepreneur, both with Piwik PRO, with the investing? So how do you see the next 30 years of your career?
So I will speak maybe first of Piwik PRO because like I still am one largest shareholder of this company. Even though not operationally involved at this stage. But I see in the analytics market that it will get fragmented. So we had the situation where you had Google Analytics, Universal Analytics having 85% of the market, and then everyone else was 15%. Now that they are killing this product and they released half-baked GA4, it will be definitely too hard to marketers to swallow that, and they will look for alternatives. So we'll see Piwik PRO hopefully as the number one in web analytics for marketers, but there will be other companies that are competing for this market and will be more fragmented. And in the end, I think this will mean more competition and better product for everyone. So actually, there's a very good thing that is happening, not only for us as a company, but generally for the market. As for me, I hope that I will become a successful early stage investor, and definitely the best compliment I get from founders that I work with is that something that I suggested or discussed, they implemented and it actually works, or they get some positive feedback from me. And I hope with that, they will also have positive outcomes of their companies. So yeah, I wish that I get more recommendations and more interesting companies in the marketing technology space to invest in.
I think that's an amazing point to wrap up. Thanks a ton for coming on today.
If you like this episode, then you'll love the SaaS Operator, a weekly newsletter brought to you by EarlyNode, with actionable insights from SaaS experts in the industry, delivered right to your inbox every Tuesday for free. Visit earlynode.com to subscribe.